Welcome everyone to America's Heartland here at Kansas Speedway, and welcome back here to the BoomTube YouTube channel. As always, I'm Adam LaVox, and I'd like to greet you for this evening. Tonight we got the Thursday Night Nitro Heavyweights taking on the track at Kansas. Now, they say there's no place like home, but this track isn't going to feel quite as cozy as home for these drivers. Kansas has recently been given an update in iRacing. It is a much rougher track than it has been previously. It's going to be hard on tires. It's going to be hard on the psyche of these drivers as they try to manage that top lane and make passes throughout the race. It's going to be a battle of skills, wills, and it's going to be fun to watch. So I hope you'll tune in with us as we get ready to watch. Drivers are out on track right now for qualifying. Should be wrapping that up shortly. Go ahead and get this up on the display for you. Most drivers already having put in a lap. Ryan Bailey, one of the last ones out. Picks up a little bit of time there, moves up to P16 in the running order. Ryan, the last one out on track. We'll go ahead and see if we can get our results up in just a moment. That marks the end of qualifying. It looks like we got Craig Bell on the pole. Dylan Schultz in the 03 showing speed. Once again, we see him P2. Go ahead and get the full points, full qualifying board on your screen. Craig Bell gonna roll off P1 with a 30.65. Absolutely blistering fast lap. We saw much slower speeds during a few practices throughout the week. Expected about a 30.8, but putting that expectation to shame. So Craig Bell going to be starting on pole position in that number 14 long shot Motorsports Chevrolet. Rolling off P2, Dylan Schultz in that 03 for Snake River Racing. Alex Wiggins going to roll off P3 in that number 11. Strong as always. Jake Doffing in the number 13 is going to roll off P4, followed by Aaron Mack in the number 31. Dalton Brewington for Team Highlands Racing in that number 7. Going to roll off P6. Max Bauman, his teammate, in the 89. Going to roll off P7. Zach Miller in the 38 is going to start this race from the 8th position. Kenny Reel in the 88 machine, starting P9. Devin Maines, P10. Greg Burchett in the 33 is going to start P11. Barry Knapp to his outside in the 42. Brendan Odell in the 16. Burchett's teammate going to roll off right behind him in that 13th position. Brad Yake, also Team Highlands Racing, is going to roll off P14. It's Brian Tarnowski, P15. Ryan Bailey, P16. Mike Morkrid, P17. Alan Blue, P18. Rest of the way down the list, we got Dalton Buckingham in the number 39. Going to start P19. Robert Eagle, a little bit of a slower lap for him. He's going to start P20. Tristan Rhodes, P21. Justin Bissett, is not actually in the race. So Tristan Rhodes will lead off in the final spot in that number 20 machine. Drivers are out for happy hour real quick. While they're doing that, we're going to go ahead and give you a points rundown. Drivers' points as they stand. Alex Wiggins out front with 80 points, followed by Devin Maines in the 5 with 72, 68 points. Aaron Mack sitting in third. All three of those drivers have been phenomenally fast all season thus far. The same can be said for Crank Bell right behind them in P4. He's just 1 point behind his teammate with 67 points. Max Bauman for Team Highlands Racing, the shining pretty bright for that team. He's 64 points, just 3 points behind fourth. Jake Doffing, the 13, 59, and Dan Jensen, Randall Peasley both tied for that 7th spot with 54 points. Barry Knapp settles in P9 with 51 points, and rounding out the top 10 in points currently is Alan Blue with 49, tied with two other drivers. Coincidentally, his teammates in the 33 and the 16, that's Greg Burchett and Brendan Odell, all with 49 points. So something can definitely be said for consistency and performance for that team, because they're all sitting right there with the same driver championship points. So great job by those RPM drivers. Putting on a good show so far this season, but can anyone catch Alex Wiggins? So far, 8-point lead. Not too big of a lead there. Devin Maines definitely has the pace and the ability to be able to catch him after being our winner last week at Iowa Speedway. Alex Wiggins, of course, taking the season opening win at Talladega. Can someone else break through to victory lane? Stay tuned and we'll try to find out tonight. As drivers continue to circulate for our happy hour intermission. Couple keys for tonight's race. Tire wear, very going to be the sticking point for this race tonight at Kansas. All 4 tires wearing pretty evenly with the setup on these cars this week. This is a fixed setup, of course. Every driver running the same setup across the board. So definitely expecting that to be a big factor. Front, rear tires, left, right sides, all wearing very evenly. And I'll tell you what that means for the long run. Once they get 25 to 35 laps into a fuel run, that car is going to get very, very loose, and it's going to go into a bit of a four-wheel slide. So these drivers are going to have to give each other and themselves more space in between their car and the wall, and their car and their competitors. Otherwise, they may find themselves in trouble. Hopefully we get some long green flag runs. Kansas is a bit of a single-lane racetrack. Definitely the high side up in that third groove up by the fence is preferred. Occasionally on fresh tires and on the long run, if you get some mistakes by some drivers, you see some guys migrating down a little bit lower to make passes. But predominantly the high line is going to be where you're going to see people run throughout the afternoon. That being said, we could definitely see a bit of a different field of guys up front who are stronger. Definitely a unique skill to be able to run that high line consistently without mistakes. Anyone who watches the real NASCAR Cup Series, you'll think of Christopher Bell. You'll think of your Kyle Larsons. Those dirt drivers are used to running the fence, very comfortable up there, don't make a whole lot of mistakes. And those guys who can replicate that here tonight in the Thursday Night Nitro Series will find success here at Kansas. Getting ready to roll off on our grid. Crank Bell in that 14, looking great in that Coca-Cola scheme. In gear they go, ready to roll off out onto the racetrack to begin tonight's action. We'll go ahead and take you through the field as they go on the pace lap here real quickly. Starting out front, Crank Bell in that number 14 with Dylan Schultz to his outside. Inside row 2 is going to be Aaron Mack with Dalton Brewington to his outside in P4. Inside row 3 is going to be Max Bauman, teammate to the number 7. Outside of row 3 is going to be that 38 of Zach Miller. Inside row 4 is going to be Devin Maines starting in P7. The 42 of Barry Knapp going to be to his outside. Still getting some guys lined up here. It's like inside row 5. It's going to be Ryan Tarnowski in the number 28 machine. Everybody getting sorted out and getting ready to roll here. All right. So Tarnowski actually going to roll off P7, I believe. Zach Miller going to start P8 to his outside. Barry Knapp is going to be outside row 5. Got a bit of a interesting situation going on here. Our inside lane does not seem to be forming up properly, whether by iRacing's instruction or otherwise. Hopefully we get it sorted out before the start. Well, one more time, we'll put it up on the board for you. Starting lineup, Crank Bell, Dylan Schultz, Alex Wiggins, Jake Doffing, Aaron Mack, your top 5. We're getting ready to go green flag racing here at Kansas. Crank Bell's going to fire him off. Green flag in the air here at Kansas Speedway. A little bit of a trouble start there for the 31 and the 89 on the inside. They both get it gathered up as they barrel down into turn 1. Crank Bell with a half a car length lead over the 03 and the 31. He's going to slide up high and solidify that P1 position. Behind is Schultz and Mack battling for P2. Schultz with the outside lane advantage. Mack trying to make something happen on fresh tires. Caution is out already for the first time here on lap 1. We'll see if we can find what happened. We're keep an eye on what should be the 9 car of Robert Eagle, showing up as 17 right now for some reason or another. The big stack up behind the 42 coming off the corner. 42 gets in the fence, pulls it off, comes across the nose of the 23 and Robert Eagle and that Oberon Toyota. Unfortunately, it looks like big impact to the inside fence for Eagle. That is going to be potentially done day for him straight off the bat. At least extensive repairs. Go back and take a look at that one more time. This time focusing on that 42 car. Watching as they come out of the corner this time. 42 gets that rear end of the fence. 23, unfortunately, gets in that left rear. Turns him across the nose of the 17, and that is that. Big impact, big damage for the 42. 42 loses the nose, and of course the 17 loses the nose as well. Problems early here at Kansas Speedway. That outside wall already claims its first victim. Dirty air definitely going to play a factor. These race cars will get very tight in the draft wake of the car in front of them. You will lose a lot of front downforce, and that probably is a good reason why that 42 got in the fence off of turn 2. Fortunately kicked off that wreck on lap 1. Still Crank Bell leading the way with 03 as Schultz held on just enough on that outside lane to stay in that second position. Aaron Mack in third, Max Bauman in fourth, Brian Tarnowski in the 28. Back in fifth position, Dalton Brewington on his outside in the sixth spot. Zach Miller running seventh currently with Alex Wiggins to his outside. Sorry, that actually appears to be the 20 car. It's going to be Tristan Rhodes to his outside. And Jake Doffing, E9, Alex Wiggins, E10. Side by side, we're stacking them up, getting ready to go once again. Pace car will pull off the track momentarily. Mr. Bell's going to lead him to the restart once again. The Geico restart zone firing off really late in that box is a 14, but he gets a great jump on this restart. Easily going to clear the 03 and get that outside lane early on. Second place is Dylan Schultz and Aaron Mack battling for that spot. Mack, unfortunately, on that inside lane. He's going to run Schultz close, so use that side draft to try to stay alongside. Down into turn 3, still Schultz on the outside with the advantage. Mack to the inside, dives it in. Down in that second lane. Can he make it stick? A little bit of the fence there for Schultz, but he's able to hold on for second place. Aaron Mack going to regroup and take his car down up to the high side now. Modulating that lane just a little bit, running half a car length lower than the 03, trying to keep some clean air on the nose of that Chevrolet. Now it's a battle for that fourth spot between Max Bauman and Brian Tarnowski. Tarnowski all the way to the bottom, Bauman to the high side. Bauman with the big advantage. He's going to clear Tarnowski and keep that fourth spot. Back up front, it's a battle again. We see the 03 trying to take that low lane, see if he can make something happen with that 14. Loses a lot of momentum. Now he's under fire from the 31 again. Little bit of a shot there before the corner from the 31. Probably trying to make him overdrive it. You see him scrape the wall just a touch, but not enough to shake the 03. Dylan Schultz hanging in there. Side by side, the 31, Aaron Mack on the inside, using that side draft, trying to pull the 03 back to him. 03 still with that advantage on the high lane. Going to be a big run off the corner. He's going to clear the 31 by a car length. Back behind him now, Max Bauman going after the 31. He's going to go half a lane to the inside, see if he can make it happen. Right on the bumper on the exit of turn 4 as I head down toward the start-finish line. Not able to get a run this time. Passing is going to be very difficult at this racetrack. Like we said, very hard to make that bottom side work. About 0.2 per lap slower down in that inside groove than on the outside. Expected to open up and close that gap just a little bit as we get deeper in a green flag run, hopefully. But for now, here on Fresh Tires, this hot top line dominant. Not too much you can do on the bottom lane. 31 tries it anyway. He's going to go down, and let's see if the 89 of Bauman's able to get a run. Single file, 1, 2, 3 behind them. That's Tarnowski, Miller, and Reel. Taking a look at this battle now. Miller actually trying to make up a little ground on Tarnowski here on the inside. He's able to stick it on the inside, but Tarnowski's able to get clear by the end of the straight. Miller going to go after him again. It's a good run on entry, but the momentum on exit from that high side is just too much to overcome. Fading back into line once again is the number 38 with Kenny Reel and the 88 all over the back end of that car. Out front, it's still Crank Bell with the 03 of Dylan Schultz in his in his tire tracks. Name of the game early on is going to be positioning. You got to be close to that driver in front. If he makes a mistake, you got to be able to pounce on it, because otherwise passing here at Kansas Speedway is going to be very, very difficult for these drivers, as we've seen so many times. Even that middle lane not working very well. We've already seen a little bit of mental games played by the 31. We saw him send the 03 a little deeper into turn 3 earlier than he wanted to, with that little bit of a bump before the corner. Little games like that just to shake the focus of the rival in front of you might be key to success here at this challenging racetrack. Let's jump back in the field a little bit farther. We got a bit of a battle back here between Odell, Burchett, Wiggins, and Doffing. Right now it's the two Pegasus Motorsports, Royal Pegasus Motorsports teammates at the 16 and the 33 going at it for that 10th spot. Hanging on side by side. Both of them electing to take a little bit lower lane. You've seen a lot more use of that low line further back in the field. Possibly a little bit more of an option. Once you got that much dirty air up high, then that low lane might be the place to go if you're behind a couple other cars. Little bit of the fence there off turn 4 for the 16. Tiz busted but a scratch. He still gets a run on the 5 entering turn 1. He's going to get alongside last week's race winner. Of course, talking about Devin Maines in that Bully Dog Coffee Company number 5 Chevy. Still side by sides, rolls reverse. The 16 sends it to the inside, the 5 on the outside. 16 backs off, gets back in line. Big bit of dirty air. Has to put a lot of wheel in it to keep it off the fence coming out of turn 2. That's going to give Alex Wiggins the run behind him. Surprising bit of struggle here early for Wiggins. Possibly trying to save tire a little bit more, but man, is he back in the hornet's nest right now. Mad scramble for position back here right around 10th spot. Inside, outside, middle lane. Cars absolutely everywhere, running each other over, coming off the corners. It is an absolute dogfight back here for 10th. RPM teammates at it again, this time with Burchett and Blue. Blue's going to slot in behind the 33 for now. Let's see if he can get a run coming out of the corner. Off of turn 4 they go, down to the inside for the start-finish line. Blue going to send it to the inside of Burchett. We'll see if he can make something happen. Almost 3 wide. The 13, Jake Doffing, staying just ahead. Blue finally going to settle in line. He's got Ryan Bailey settling in right in front of him as well, behind Greg Burchett in that 33. Burchett now has his sights on the 13, Jake Doffing. Doffing with the run on the outside. He's going to put a gap on that 33 down the straight. Battle for 4th still alive and well. That's going to be between Max Bauman and the 38 is Zach Miller. Bauman all the way up riding that fence. Miller just a lane below on the inside as we see a spin in front. That's going to be the 17 out of shape off of turn 2. Looks like he's able to save the car and continue on. Clicking through lap 20 and out of 21. These drivers are going to start feeling that tire wear in the next couple laps, especially up front where they're pushing really hard. You see this top 5 is broken away from the rest of the pack by a considerable margin. Lap 25, they're really going to start feeling that right rear go away on these cars, and they're going to be slipping and sliding all over the place. Miller going for a low exit here, trying to get any advantage he can on the 89. He's able to get there, but not quite make a move. Back up in front is 89, trying to take that air away on entry for the 38. He's able to turn down and get that drive off with that top line so strong. Even that little bit of difference in line results in a big speed advantage down the back straight for the 89. Let's take a ride along with Zach Miller as he tries to run down Bauman and here as we cross lap 23. Once again on board with Zach Miller. Entering just a little bit lower, keeping that nose in clean air so he doesn't wash up the racetrack. Back up to the outside. He's going to take that same entry as Bauman here early on. Now that he's got some distance between him, and he's going to stick that nose a half a lane down, trying to get some momentum off the corner. Looks like he gains a little bit on the 89 through 1 and 2 this time. A lot ahead of them. You see that gap tightening up for second between the 03 and the 31. Aaron Mack has run down the 03 for that spot. We'll take a look at that as it develops. Aaron Mack going to claim that spot. Move that 31 up to P2 behind his teammate in the 14. Couple moves made on the team front. 14 and 31 gain a new teammate in the 5 this weekend after a bit of a changing of hands of drivers for that race team. Dissolved the previous team, and he joined forces with these 2 drivers for the remainder of the season. That is a powerhouse team if I've ever seen one. Of course, the 14 and 31 have been in contention every week so far. Led most of the race at Talladega. Saw those 2 out front the entire day. Last week, very close as well. We saw the 31 gain speed late in the going. 14 had a little bit of an issue at the end, but still came home with P3 on the day. Which is why they have a pretty significant lead in the team point standings so far in the season. Back here, this battle still going on between Zach Miller. He gets alongside the 89 now, sends it down to the inside, all the way to the bottom. He's going to paint that white line, trying to maybe put a slide jump in the 89. Too much momentum on the outside. Bauman's going to pull back alongside 38, trying to keep some space between them, keeping that side draft from affecting his race car too much. Ooh, gets a little piece of an apron there. You see the bit of a wiggle there for 38 mid-corner. But you saw Bauman get a piece of that outside wall coming off the corner too. While these 2 go at it side by side, here comes a third car. It's going to be Kenny Reel sending it down to the inside. He's going to clear Miller easily. We'll see if he can also clear the 89 coming off the corner. It's going to be close. He does. 2 for 1 through turns 1 and 2. Kenny Reel up to P4 out of nowhere. Zach Miller says, I'm not done yet, sending that 38 down to the inside as they both get around Ryan Bailey in the 10. side by side through turns 1 and 2. Still door-to-door, dead even heat between the two. Momentum favors 88 on the outside. He's just going to get clear of the 38 before turn 3. Zach Miller seems to be one of the few drivers making that inside work somehow. I don't know what magic he's found down there, but he's able to keep pace down there. He's been bottom feeding for most of the day so far and is somehow making it work for him. Still hanging out inside the top 5 in that 5th spot. Now, you mentioned 5. You have to say the number 5, and all of a sudden the 5 appears. There he is in that Bully Dog Coffee, number 5. That's Devin Maines coming for that 5th spot. Zach Miller a little bit loose off the turn 2. That's going to give the run to Devin on the inside. Miller switching up to the top lane nicely. No issues there. He's going to hang on to that right rear quarter panel, side drafting the 5, and he's going to get the momentum down the front straight, but still not able to clear. Maines buries that car down into turn 1 and 2. He's going to make it stick this time. Miller's going to have to hand over that 5th spot to the number 5 car for now. Valiant effort by that 38, especially considering he's been running the bottom lane, unlike pretty much everyone else on the racetrack so far today. Take a look back here. We got Brian Tarnowski and Greg Burchett in the 33 going at it. This battle for that 10th spot, that final position in the top 10. Tarnowski topside in the 28, Burchett in the 33 on the bottom. Tarnowski gets the advantage for now. These two have been relatively close to each other throughout the entire race thus far. Good showing by Burchett so far. He leads the way out of the RPM stable. Battle still goes on side by side for the 10th spot. Back and forth these two go. Gaining momentum, losing momentum. Great drive by Burchett off of turn 4 that time. Gets a massive run on the 28. He's able to clear down before the start-finish line this lap. Burchett up 1 spot from where he qualified today. Tarnowski a little bit of trouble. Gets a little bit of that right rear in the outside fence mid-corner. Tarnowski still having a great effort so far, up 4 spots from where he qualified this afternoon. This battle is finally settled. Greg Burchett going to take over that 10th spot from Tarnowski. Right behind them, Tristan Rhodes and the number 20 starting to make his way forward throughout the field. Got the 16 of Odell and the 1 of Brad Yake starting to make some moves forward. Bit of a checkup there for the 16. One's got to get out of the gas there. Bit of a panic there for the 1. 16 gets in the fence off of 4, still keeps the momentum, but it's going to be the 20 of Tristan Rhodes taking that spot. Side draft by the 1, getting up right on the door of that 16. He's going to claim that spot. down to the bottom of the racetrack for Rhodes. Another driver trying to work that inside. Doing so to some success as we see the one get in the fence. Nearly gets down into the 42. Good heads-up driving by the 42. Get out of it just a bit there. This is the part of the run where these race cars get really sketchy, and these drivers are going to have to do all they can to hang on. Back up front, Kenny Reel for P3 now. Did a 03 of Dylan Schultz now in pit lane, taking his first pit stop of the day. Very hard pit lane to get to here at Kansas. Kansas has such a deep infield that places the pit lane almost in the corner before you exit turn 4. So you really have to get slow on that inside to make that happen. These drivers are going to start pitting en masse within the next couple of laps. We see the 88 just get a little piece of the outside wall, and the 5 is going to take advantage and bypass them for that third spot. Exactly what we talked about earlier, being able to pounce when that driver in front of you makes even the slightest of mistakes, and that's exactly what Devin Maines does. Move him up to P3. P2 now, expecting the 31 to come in pit lane this time around. Going to yield that spot. Potentially not. See him come off turn 4 this time. He's still defending against Reel for that 4th spot. Reel's going to take that for now, but here comes the 31 back on the outside once again. Side by side off of 2. Back takes that spot. Back from Reel for now. We'll see what the 88 has to say about that. The Reel running about half a lane higher than the 31. He's able to gain a little bit of momentum off the corner, closing that gap now down to half a car length. Once again, entering just a little bit higher, trying to keep a little bit of fresh air on that nose. A little bit slower through 1 and 2 this time, though. Those old tires seem to be evening out the inside and outside lanes, as we've seen throughout the field so far. Whether it be the 38, the 20, several drivers starting to take down towards the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make something happen. Great racing throughout the field so far today, this being the closest battle in the field currently. Swapping lanes now. I see the 31 taking to that extreme high lane. The 88's going to take it down half a lane. 31 goes down to block. Aero blocking. Gets that 88 in the fence. Gets him tight. Not enough to really cause any damage on these race cars, but definitely does hurt the momentum. You see a big gain there for the 31. Goes up and aero blocks the 88. And when I say aero block, he's taking that air off the nose of the 88. These cars very reliant on the front downforce that is created by the oncoming air. And when you take that oncoming air away by placing another car directly in front of them, it takes away that downward pressure on the nose of the race car that's pushing those front tires down into the track and making the car turn. So these drivers will use that as a tool to keep position and block race cars behind them, as we've seen the 31 do just a lap ago. Still cycling through green flag pit stops. See the 20 of Rhodes, 7 of Brewington, 14 of Bell all in pit lane. Bell pitting from the lead, of course. You see Kenny Reel going to hit pit lane this time. Gets it low down, even on old tires. Nicely done by the 88. That's going to hand over the lead to the 5 for now. We'll see how long this 5 car can stretch that fuel on this run. We've seen him saving tires. He's worked his way up through the field throughout the run. And take a look at the spots gained throughout the day so far. Right now, the biggest mover of the day is going to be, of course, keep in mind this is the green flag pit stop, so some drivers have yet to pit, the number 1 being among them, but Up 9 spots so far for the day. This is number 5 and also the number 1 of Brad Yake. Up 9 spots so far today. We'll take another look at that metric once we cycle through green flag pit stops. Question on my mind right now is how much time is that number 5 car losing by staying out this long? About a full second of fall off on the racetrack. We'll go ahead and take a look at the relative time for these drivers. If you look at the scoreboard, last lap for the 5 car rather was a 32.06, and even slower for the cars behind him with a little bit more worn tires. And taking a look down the field towards some fresh tires. Let's single out the 03 Dylan Schultz. Already pit 31.2. Looking compared to Maines with a 32.1. So that's 0.9 seconds per lap difference in pace. So that 5 car stands to lose a bit of track position here by staying out this long, but potentially could set himself up for a great run late race. If this race continues to go green and he is able to pit later than everyone else, he will have fresher tires toward the end. And of course have to take potentially less fuel on the final pit stop of the day. Always helpful in gaining some of that track position back. Seeing the difference in speed in real time here as pretty much everyone in the field easily working their way around the 5 car right now. Only cars on track yet to pit are the 5, 11, and 33. 11 comes into pit lane this time as the 5 gets a little piece of the fence. Burchett also electing to stay out on track. Alex Wiggins pitting from P2 now. You drivers playing the long game here. We'll see how this pans out for him. See a difference in strategy throughout the field. Devin Maines comes down pit lane for service, finally lap 54. That is a very long run for the 5 car. Bringing it in for service, that's going to hand the lead over to Greg Burchett for now. Keep in mind, that's 1 bonus point for a lap led for this 33 car. That is helpful toward the championship standings long run. Drivers trying to keep in mind those little bonus points up for grabs throughout the race. Another one of those being the fastest lap of the race. Go ahead and take a look at that right now. Currently held by the 89 of Bauman with 30.66. Absolutely blazing lap. I think that might have been a pole lap. Had this been qualifying, so running very similar speeds there, of course, right on the drop of the green flag. Fired off really well for that 89. We'll see if that holds up throughout the day. Drivers are spread out now. They got room to work. So maybe some of these fresh guys on fresh tires will be able to make something happen and steal that away from the 89. Burchett out of fuel coming out of turn 2. He's going to coast his way all the way to the pits here on lap 55. Very painfully slow for the 33. We'll see if he makes it all the way. Here he is, pit road entrance. It looks like he's going to make it, but man, is he going to be crawling by the time he gets there. Very, very slow, but the 33 going to make it a pit lane just in time, but going to lose a lot of track position here by running out of fuel. Back out front, the 03, Dylan Schultz pit back on lap 41. One of the first cars to pit. Schultz and Brennan Odell as well, both pit on lap 41. So the two first cars to come, both of them came that same lap. And we see he gained a lot of track position and was able to leapfrog the rest of the leaders by coming out early. We'll see what that is worth on the long run. Expect those leaders to start coming back, having 7 to 8 lap fresher tires than the 03 does. But man, look at that difference in track position. Driver's definitely going to take a mental note of that. Save that in their back pocket for later as the race comes toward its end. Speaking of, just past the halfway mark of this race. Yeah, Schultz crosses for lap 58 of 110 here at Kansas Speedway. Frank Bell runs second, Devin Maines third. You see the big spread throughout the leaders. Gap to second right now, 10 seconds. That's how much track position Dylan Schultz in that 0-3 gained on P2. It is 8.4 seconds from Crank Bell in second place back to Devin Maines in third. And about 1.7 seconds behind him is the 89 of Max Bauman, followed by the 11 of Alex Wiggins. Keeping an eye on this gap. This is actually tightening up a little bit between these two drivers. Seeing that 11 making some headway on Bauman. Let's see if he's able to make the pass. Bauman pulling it down to the inside, trying to cut off that clean air. 11 dives it in even deeper. He buried the nose of that Chevrolet down into turn 2. Now to the inside. He's got tons of speed on the inside, and it looks like he's easily going to be able to clear Bauman on the exit of 4. Alex Wiggins up to P4. Big gap in pace throughout the field as we see quite a few drivers one lap down. A lot of that has to do with when they elected to pit, how efficiently they came down pit lane and were able to keep that pit stop as short as possible. Missing your pit box on a green flag run like this can be very, very costly. Having to back up and hit that pit box again can lose you a lot of track position. Fractions of a second on pit lane equal full seconds out on the racetrack. Definitely don't want to have that happen. And I suspect several drivers have, as we've seen drivers like Burchett fall down the running order down to 16th now. Alan Blue 18th, Barry Knapp down to 19th. You know, several of those drivers who had pretty promising starts to the day finding a little bit of trouble here mid-race. Frank Bell closing that gap and closing it fast. You see that interval on the left side of your screen counting down rather rapidly, down to 1.2 seconds to the leader now. Bell pitted 6 laps later than your leader. While that doesn't sound like a big difference in tires, these tires fall off very, very rapidly at the beginning of the run. A little goes a long way as far as grip levels go on a rough course racetrack like Kansas, which tends to be just a tire shredder. These drivers doing really well managing that throughout the day. We see Odell on the fence right in front of the leaders here. Keeps it off, gathers it back up. Back here for 5th, Aaron Mack getting around Max Bauman. Bauman continuing to fall down through the order. Last pitting on lap 42, so he's another car with a little bit older tires, just 1 lap later than your leader, who's currently being run down by Crank Bell. Even a couple laps difference in tires. This begs the question for the end of the race, should we get a late caution? Will drivers gamble and take tires? Will they sacrifice track position for tires? Do we see how effectively they're able to make passes with just a couple laps fresher tires than their competition? The difference between these two drivers, the 31 and the 89, only 5 laps. But still, we see the difference in pace. Aaron Mack absolutely leaving the 89 in his dust, pulls away by a full second now over that 6th spot. Right now, the driver hoping for a caution. It's number 7. First car 1 lap down. That's Dalton Brewington. Brewington and that Iron Warrior Project number 7. A bit of a highlight for this car. Iron Warrior Project, actually a nonprofit run by his father. And really cool operation they've got going on. A little bit of the catch fence there for the 7 and the 14 as well. See the 14 maybe doing a bit of following at the line of the number 7 as he gets in the fence a little bit on entry there. But yeah, a bit of a mission statement for the Operation Iron Warrior. A lot of cases when our nation's warfighters separate from service, they're have a bit of a have some difficulties adapting back to civilian life, and that can stem from the fact that they've spent so much time and built bonds with their brothers and sisters in arms and under some of the worst conditions imaginable, and the loss of that camaraderie and things tends to lead them into spaces mentally that obviously no one should have to be in, but they're striving to help that in a way that provides a bit of fun for them as well. They help them rebuild that by giving them a team to be part of, and a team made up of their peers who kind of share in those feelings, tasking them with a mission that has to be completed and a milestone to reach for, and that's very cool. It's part of the Iron Dog competition. They leave from Big Lake, Alaska, as riders of the Expedition class. This is on snowmobiles. So they're riding on the snow machine, and their goal is to reach their objective in Nome, Alaska. And that's the world's longest and hardest snowmobile race. And their team is only racing the clock, not other competitors. That's because along the path, along that journey, they're going to reach out to some of the most remote veterans living up there in Alaska, and remind them that they're not alone, and giving them information or resources that they might need or might not know about. And so to obviously achieve this, they got to act together. They can't do it on their own. So much like their prior experience in the military, they'll have to train together and form a bond to make that a success. So very cool operation they have going on up there. Once again, that's Operation Iron Warrior, and you can find that at operationironwarrior.org. Back out front, still the 03, Dylan Schultz with that gap 5 seconds now. Back to Devin Maines. Problems for the 14 going down 1 lap. Might have had some damage on that race car that it required repairs for. So we see Craig Bell currently out of the contention. We'll see if he can work his way back onto that lead lap as the race progresses. But for now, Dylan Schultz leads the way. Devin Maines trying to run him down. 5.4 seconds the gap now. There is the gap visually across the start-finish line as the leader's entering turn 1. Some ground to make up. He's doing it quite well, though. 3 seconds, the gap just a moment ago, now down to 5 seconds even, so the 5 is making up quite a bit of ground on the 03. But Dylan Schultz doing great to hang on how he has, considering the 5 car has 12-lap newer tires. As we see, the 03 going to come in. He's going to early pit. Heading toward the end of this race, try to make up some of that track position on fresh tires. So he's keeping the same strategy as earlier. He's going to be one of the first cars down pit lane. Trying to do what he did the first time around, get that track position early on. And then hope the race continues to go green throughout the remainder of the running here. That's going to hand over the lead to the 5 car, Devin Maines. Maines, no stranger to being out front, was leading at Talladega on the final lap off the final corner through a late block, and unfortunately that resulted in the 11 gaining the win. But he won last week in a redemption bid at Iowa Speedway and has the potential to go back-to-back here today, as he's been strong all day long, slowly and methodically picking his way up through the field, finding himself up in first position currently. And speaking of the 11 car that he tangled with, oh, big slide there out of the 4 for the 5 car. That number 11 car is coming, folks. 3.4 seconds the gap now and closing. Zach Miller takes his number 38 to pit lane. Have to move Max Baumann up to P3. Kenny Reel up to P4. As green flag pit stops start to cycle through. Some drivers trying to close that gap a little bit, not waiting quite as long as the last time. After seeing that track position gain by the 03, I think several of the drivers electing to come a little bit earlier this time by. Drivers have 4 sets of tires today. So far, majority of them have only used 1 on that first stop. Some of them have used 2 on their second stop, but still, there'll be 2 sets of tires in reserve for these drivers should we get a late race caution. At that point, it'll become a game of weighing track position versus the potential speed you think you're going to have. As we see Devin Maines hit that inside lane. He's down in pit lane now for service. Wiggins going to take over that lead here on lap number 81. 30 laps to go this evening. Race going by very quickly, having run green most of the way. Field is pretty spread out. Only 8 remain on the lead lap right now. Expect to see that change. Schultz will regain that lead lap status once we cycle through green flag pit stops. Expecting a couple others to do so as well. See Alex Wiggins come down pit lane. 89 Max Baumann going to stay out another lap, I do believe, and try to get those points for leading. And he will do just that. Lap number 82 going to be led by the 89. Fresh tires on that 31, making short work of Baumann in the 89. Almost out of screen already. That is the difference here. Expect the 89 to come soon. Maybe he's got some different strategy in mind, hoping for a late race caution to take those fuel and tires for the run to the finish. Somewhat doubt he's going to get it. It's going to take a bit of a miracle to get one at this point, as most of the field has cycled through for their final pit stop of the afternoon. Baumann and Odell in the 16, as well as Kenny Reel, some of the only drivers who have not hit yet, as Baumann finally relinquishes that lead. Heads down to pit lane. Kenny Reel going to assume the lead now, and he's going to get that bonus point for leading a lap this time. I think I've been had. I thought the 14 had a potential issue. I think he just short pitted by quite a bit, folks. Looking at the timing and scoring, 14 car came in pit at lap 72, far earlier than the next car, who came in at lap 76. And that would be the 03 Dylan Schultz. So he undercut the man who showed us how to undercut earlier in this race. So Crank Bell coming in at lap 72, Dylan Schultz coming in at 76, and you see, we'll look at that gap, worth about 2 seconds on track by short pitting that four laps before the 03 car. Quite a few varying strategies going on throughout the field. Kenny Reel still out front. He's going to have to make that final pit stop as well very soon. Last coming down on lap 48, so nearing the 40 laps on this fuel run. So the battle as it stands is between the 14 and the 03. There's the 14, there's the 03. 2 seconds of separation between them currently. On board with the 03 now, working his way past the 1 car, Brad Yake. He is a lap down, still running top 10. A great run out of that number 1 so far today. Ooh, as we see a bit of a crunch on that right rear quarter panel coming out of turn 4. Still hangs on to that car, though. Kenny Reel stretching this run, still out front. 42 laps into his fuel run. He is probably desperately hoping for a caution right now to bunch the field back up and get himself the freshest tires out there. But with the rest of the field already having come into the pit lane, I don't think it's going to happen for this 88. It was definitely worth a shot. Gambling big here today. And it's not a bad time to do it. We've seen how hard it is to pass here, how hard it is to maintain that pace for so long, running right up against that fence for the endurance of this race. Just to be able to do that, you almost have to do something big. You have to try something big if you want to win. If you're not starting up front, it's going to be really hard to insert yourself into that picture unless you do something that's going to change the game for you, and that's what the 88's trying to do here. Just not quite going to work out for him this week, I don't believe. We still got time. Anything can happen between now and when the checkered flag falls. But here inside of 20 laps to go, toward the end of the fuel run, it's a bit of a stretch. 4 seconds behind him, Bell running him down at an absolutely rapid pace. You see that gap to the leader falling nearly a tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths per corner. About a second a lap, second and a half a lap gain on the lead, so expect that 14 to catch him in no time. If he can keep the 03 behind him, this is a battle for second right now, and a battle for what could be the lead. 14 to Bell on the outside, 03 of Schultz to the inside. He's trying to make it happen. Schultz holding on. Holding on to that door of the 14, way down to the inside there in the front straight, down on the apron even. He's going to put a slide job on Bell here coming off of turn 2. Going to give him that dirty air, packs that 14's nose full of dirty air. Both of them find the fence, find that safer barrier coming out of turn 2. Playing the same game now. A little bit of bump from the 14 here going into 3. These two drivers are going at it for a second spot, but the 03 has it, and I think he's going to hang on to it. About 8-lap fresher tires for that 03 over the 14. Bell did all he could to hang on. I think he knew once Schultz got by, it was game over, and so it is. You see Schultz setting sail toward that number 88. You see that gap falling. Was 3.7 last lap, now down to 3.4, even despite the battle with the 14. Devin Main's in that 5 car. A lot fresher tires, but a lot bigger gap to make up. You see him back quite a ways behind this battle. Got about a 6.5 second gap to try to make, about an 8-second gap to make up, if he has any hope of catching Crank Bell and Dylan Schultz today. The undercut might have the day one. The last thing these drivers want to see, though, is a caution. Their strategy completely relies on this thing staying green. Should they get a caution, it's going to be probably equal footing for everybody. I can't imagine that anyone stays out and tries to make old tires work unless they're in the very back. Everything's spread out pretty far here on the racetrack. Closest battle is for that Kenny Reel missed the entry to pit lane there. That's probably going to result in a penalty for that car, unless he got inside of the commitment line. We'll see how that works out for him. On those old tires, entering pit lane here at Kansas, very, very treacherous. Coming down onto that apron, it is very easy to spin out, as yours truly found out doing a few test laps earlier this week. Dylan Schultz leads the way in that bright yellow 03 Toyota. Going to be a big day for Snake River Racing if he can pull this off. The only representative for Snake River Racing in the field today. 29 and 30 absent this week. Gap is 2.8 seconds back to Crank Bell. And widening. Back to 3 seconds now. I believe these top two will stand as they are unless the 5 has something to say about it. I don't think he's going to catch the leader with just 10 laps to go this time by. He's got 5 seconds to make up on second spot. Can he do that before the end? I think it is going to be very close. We'll definitely keep an eye on this as it progresses. Keeping an eye back here. Kenny Reel a lap down now. Dalton Brewington right behind him, with the 31 car of Aaron Mack in 5th place separating the two. We'll see if Brewington has anything for him. I think Brewington came in quite a bit earlier, though, so I'm thinking the 88's got the tire advantage. He should walk away pretty easily. Back up front, still that number 5 trying to chase down. Ooh, finds himself in the fence in 1 and 2. That's not going to hurt his, or that's not going to help his chances, rather. Big momentum loss there as you see the Royal Pegasus car in front of him. Not sure who that is, but definitely getting away from him again as he scrapes the wall, entering 3. That might just solidify that second spot for Bell. We'll see what happens, though. We'll take a look at Bell. Bell dealing with some struggles of his own. He's got lap traffic ahead. 42 taking away that clean air off his nose. Putting a load of wheel into it to keep it off the fence. Best thing Bell can do right now is keep it clean. Don't make the same mistakes that we've seen out of the 5 behind him. That gap still sits at 4.5 seconds. Down under 4 seconds, the gap to second now. Gap now even at 3 seconds, about a half second a lap gain for this 5 car. Cutting it very close if he's going to catch Bell for that second spot. We saw how hard Bell was to pass. When Dylan Schultz was up there trying to pass that 14 for the lead, he put together quite a formidable defense trying to keep that 03 behind him. Took a lot longer than one might have expected given the tire difference between the two. There is the gap. Entering 4 now is Crank Bell. Entering 4 now is Devin Maines. That is the gap. Taking a look from the blimp, that 14 car isn't quite in picture yet, but it is getting there. The gap now 2.2 seconds. There is the gap from the 5 to the 14. Three laps to go now. 3 laps to get it done. In the fence again into turn 1 for the 5. Still making it work. Closed down to 1.7 seconds now, the gap. Bit of a stumble there coming out of the corner. Gap still closing down to 1.4. Giving it absolutely everything that car has. Getting that right rear in the fence nearly every lap now. Leaving nothing on the table as Devin Maines trying to chase down this man. Crank Bell in the 14 trying to hang on for that second place finish. White flag is in the air for the 03 of Dylan Schultz. Quite a ways ahead. 7.5 seconds up the road for him. Off of turn 2 for the final time and down the backstretch for the 03. Flying the Snake River Racing banner high in his teammates' absence. Here comes the 03 of Dylan Schultz across the line. He's going to claim victory at Kansas. Battle for second was that close. We're going to have to go back and take a look at it because I believe that 5 car might have got the 14. I think it might have happened. We'll go back and take a look at that white flag lap, though. I'm not sure if it happened. This is the white flag lap, final lap. You see how close the gap is here. Again, this is a replay of that final lap. 5 car coming off of 2, getting a big run on the 14. Sending it deep into turn 3. 5 pitches it down low, trying to get alongside the 14. Did he get there across the line? The 5 car did make it happen on the last lap at Kansas. He comes home P2, just barely squeaking by Crank Bell for that second spot. What a drive by Devin Maines to take over that second spot on the final lap. Absolute whale of a drive from that 5 car, putting it all out there, not leaving anything on the racetrack this week. But the man of the day is that 03 right there in front of you. We'll go ahead and take a look at that 03 car and give you a rundown of the finish order. 03, Dylan Schultz claims victory at Kansas. Devin Maines P2. P3, Crank Bell. Alex Wiggins, another solid finish out of the 11, comes home P4. 31, Aaron Mack rolls in P5. Zach Miller made a bit of a recovery run toward the end there. Comes home P6 with Max Bauman in P7. Kenny Reel still maintained P8 after a bit of a comeback drive himself on those fresh tires at the end. Brian Tarnowski finishes P9 with Dalton Brewington rounding out the top 10. Kristen Rhodes has a solid day in P11. Brendan Odell, P12. Jake Doffing finishes P13, his own car number. Greg Burchett in the 33 finishes P14. A solid day for Brad Yake in P15 in that 1 car. Mike Morkred, P16. Dalton Buckingham finishes P17 in his debut in the TNN Series. Alan Blue comes home P18 with Barry Knapp in P19. Ryan Bailey finishes P20 with Robert Eagle in P21 after early trouble today. And Justin, once again not racing. All right, that wraps up our racing action. We're going to go ahead and get some of these drivers in here to hear how their day went and debrief some of what we saw on the racetrack. All right, still waiting on our race winner. Not sure if he's going to turn up in chat or not, but I guess in the meantime, we'll go ahead and bring in our third place finisher. Crank Bell in that 14 played the major undercut on that last green flag run. All right, here in the booth with us is Crank Bell, finishing P3 after a big strategy move on the late race, that last run of the day. Played the undercut pretty fantastically. Almost held on to second there, barely got run down at the end. But take us through that last. Well, first of all, how you doing? That looked like quite a handful of a car to hang on to through the closing laps there.
I think the steam's finally started to subside coming out of my ears. Pretty hot at Dillon there. That was not a very respectful way to race somebody and take the lead. He did that big slide job on me, came right up against the wall and just parked it in front of me. That tore my front end up and it didn't handle worth a damn after that. So good on him for getting the win, but that's not how I would want to win. I guess if that's how we're going to race, that's how we'll race the rest of the season.
Well, we prefaced the race with a bit of a note that drivers are going to have to be a little more aggressive today, and he definitely took that to heart, as it was just so hard to make passes throughout the day here at Kansas, being a single groove racetrack with a really worn out surface. You paid the price on tires if you tried being too aggressive and didn't make those passes happen quickly. So you definitely saw that come into play several times throughout the race. We saw not only the 03, but quite a few other drivers making similar moves throughout the afternoon. But Overall, what influenced your strategy? We saw you maybe take some notes after that early run. I believe, did you go a little bit longer that first run? I saw you really, you short pitted that second run, gained a whole lot of track position early. What was your strategy for that coming into the afternoon? Did that change at all throughout the race for you?
I just kind of played it by ear, which is typically what I do. I don't like to come into a race with a dead set plan. That's what I stick to. So we did during practice, we did a pit party right at the end. That was the first time I'd really ran around anybody, and it was clear that it was going to be almost impossible to pass. Track position was going to be key. I got out, got on the pole, set a good lap there in qualifying, and it proved the case. You know, I was out front. Nobody could run me down. Nobody could get by me if they did. So Dylan undercut the first stop and got like a 4 second gap. I ran him down, realized, you know, the dirty air was just couldn't get by somebody without making an overly aggressive move. And so I knew I had to undercut him. I was kind of watching where he pitted, how many laps he had on his tires. Kind of guesstimate he was trying to split that run in half. I cut him by a couple laps there, the lead back. So that's kind of how I played it out. Like I said, I didn't really have a strategy coming in. I like to see how the caution fall on the race. It looks.
Yeah, some interesting strategy going on there, and I'm sure the audience who's been with us for last season as well know that you're known for your off the cuff strategy plays, which often turn out pretty well, as it did today. Obviously, didn't get the win, but still a really solid finish. Going to hold that points lead for the team pretty well, pretty handily there with that P3 finish. So definitely not something to be disappointed in, but always room for improvement. Always hoping for a little more. And yeah, definitely setting the tone for the rest of the season by your pace, and of course how you're going to race everyone else. So I would say good luck going forward. It's just getting more interesting. We've seen rivalries start to spark up here and there throughout the field after only 3 races. So I think it should be a really entertaining season for everybody. Whether some drivers probably feel a little bit differently about it, of course, but I appreciate y'all for being good sports about it and putting on a great show for us here watching at home.
Yeah, it's always fun running here. We've got such a mixed bag of skill sets. And everybody's got some peers that are pretty even with them. They can race again. So you're going to see some good battles up front and all the way through the field. I'm excited about the rest of the season. Appreciate that I'm getting some podiums here early, but man, I want to get that win.
For sure. If it plays out like today, I mean, you're right there knocking on the door every single week. So I mean, it's got to break through sometime. And do you have a race circled on the calendar that you're saying, this is probably my chance to do it? Is there one that sticks out to you, or did that happen to be today by chance?
Well, I mean, the mile and a halves I'm usually pretty good at. Dover's kind of a crapshoot. I'm pretty good at Pocono. I'd say Michigan and Darlington, Phoenix and Vegas. So probably the second half of the season. I feel like I'll be pretty.
Well, of all the times to be strong, that would be the time to do it. We're gonna expect a late season surge out of the 14, so mark that down. Audience will definitely keep an eye on the 14 throughout the rest of that second half of the season, but definitely no slouch through the first half either. So thanks for taking the time to talk with us, man, and we'll have good luck next week at Dover.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Adam.
All right, it's been Crank Bell, driver of the number 14. We're gonna get Devin Maines in the booth, driver of the number 5. That Bully Dog Coffee Company machine, bringing it home P2 after an absolutely maniacal drive in that last run to run an 8-second gap all the way down to nothing at the end. He passed Craig Bell on the last lap off the last corner for that second spot. Devin Maines, take us through that last couple laps and just your day as a whole. How's it going, sir?
Going great. Was not expecting P2 there. I thought I had completely ruined my race. I don't know if you saw me completely miss pit road that last stop. But I lost so much time there. But that last run, that last stop, I ended up taking 2 tires. If I think if I hadn't missed pit road, I might have had a shot at the win there because the fall off wasn't really there. I was surprised how well the top held up. But yeah, that last run, I was more worried about the 11 behind me. He was catching me. I knew he took 4, and then he was about a tenth or 2 faster than me almost that whole run, and I guess he fell off because we kind of balanced out and I didn't have to worry about him so much. And then I'm not sure what happened with Crank, but he fell off hard, and it looked like he was getting super tight on exit. And that's what happened coming out of 4 there at the end. He had to lift big, and I was able to just shoot it underneath and grab P2. So can't be too upset about it. I hoped it was gone better. I thought after that first run I really had a shot at the win, but I kind of shot myself in the foot there. But overall, pretty good day. Can't be mad.
For sure, having to make a late scramble. I definitely did not expect to hear that. That's news to myself and everyone watching. That 2-tire call at the last second was definitely a bit of stroke of genius, and that worked out well for you. Despite, you know, most people, if they have something like that happen, they go into panic mode and can't recover like you did there. But that was very good, just off the cuff strategy call there, and it worked out to a podium finish for you, and that's really cool. And once again, having your new Bully Dog Coffee Company colors on the car, shout out to them. We've seen them in stream chat and everything throughout the last couple weeks, so really cool to have different sponsors and stuff coming on and being represented in chat and things like that. So tip of the hat to them for coming on board with you and showing out, and you're definitely putting on a show for them and all your supporters here for the Thursday Night Nitro Series. So that is not a bad way to back up a win. Bring it home pizza.
Absolutely. Adam, I have yet to finish top 2, by the way. So that's cool. But also, yeah, big thanks to Bully Dog for supporting me, all their help. Make sure y'all use Top Dog 10, get 10% off your order, bullydogcoffeecompany.com. Yeah, thank you for them. Team Watson Racing Setups. I know this is a fixed setup. Also, whatever setup you put in the car today, it ripped. So good job there.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of work from myself and a couple teammates, stuff testing that out throughout the last week or so. Trying to give us a little better racing product. We saw the bottom line work okay early on. We saw, I think Zach was down on the bottom quite a bit that first run, making it work somehow. I don't know how, but he definitely found something there on fresh tires and still came home, I think, P6. So, yeah, solid day for him overall. And I think I saw the 20 bottom feeding there for a while. So it was a bit of a pleasant surprise because even through our testing, it was still pretty top-line dominant. But once we got in race conditions, and I think the track rubbered up a lot more than it did during our testing, so I think that kind of helped things along as well. But yeah,
that first run I used I ran the bottom probably 10-15 laps. The bottom was really good for saving tires, and then so first 15 laps or so I ran the bottom and then went back to the top and was able to really cut through the field to get to the lead before the pit cycle. So that was cool.
Yeah, and definitely props to you and the other guys who were able to feel that out and, you know, kind of predict that that's what the track evolution was going to be like in the evolution of the tires over the run. Knew it was going to be a big strategy day, and it was going to play to the hands of the people who could figure out the little things like that that would help turn the tire strategy and saving and things into their favor. And like we said, congrats to you for playing that 2-tire strategy. We saw a couple people miss pit road. I think Kenny missed pit road on that last green flag run as well, so that hurt him as well. He still came back for a top 10 as well, so props to him for driving the hell out of it on that last 23 laps or so to get back inside the top 10. But Congrats to you for backing up your win again, P2 finish. So shout out to yourself for putting on yet another exciting finish. You've been right in the mix of the action for every finish so far, whether it be Talladega or last week at Iowa, and here today. You're always putting on a show at the last lap, it seems.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, the showman himself, Devin Maines, thanks for taking the time, and we'll see you at Dover next weekend.
Yep, we'll see you there.
All right. Hopefully he's not too mad at us for making him wait so long, but we'll go ahead and bring the 03 Dylan Schultz, your race winner here at Kansas in the Teton Concrete 03 machine, the solo representation for Snake River Racing, getting it done here at Kansas. How is it going, Dylan?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine after seeing quite an entertaining race. Despite all the strategy and green flag racing, we still had plenty to keep us occupied here on broadcast, and definitely saw a bit of back and forth strategy between yourself, the 14, the 5, the 31 throughout the day. Kind of a battle of undercuts toward the end, and you might have yourself a bit of a new rival if you watch back the interviews. We might get a taste of what the 14 thinks about your battle for the lead there. But overall, hey, you made it happen. We told the audience during stream that you're gonna have to make the move. You're gonna have to if you're going for a pass, you gotta make it happen quickly. Otherwise, you're gonna punish the tires too much, and the balance of your car is just gonna go away. And you made that happen, and you ran away with it on the final green flag run. So overall, did you think that's where you would be at the end of the day?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think I was the only one to really pit early. I was hoping, I kind of gambled for it to go green all the way, and that's why I kind of pitted early, and it split it up like that, and then everyone else came in. But yeah, I don't. When the tires fall off like that, and with the 14, I had to make my move as quickly as possible. And in my opinion, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I mean, I cleared him. He could have went low, but that's just aggressive racing. I had to be aggressive. If I stayed behind him, I'd burn my stuff up, and that's what you have to do sometimes, especially at Kansas when the priority line is the high line. So that's just how it went.
Yeah, I mean, you did it to pretty good effect there. I know some people expect to be raced certain ways, and you kind of feel that out as you go throughout the season, and racing with other guys. We're still early on in the season, but overall, great job today. We saw you had speed just from the drop, and kept it throughout the day, and you obviously had a plan for strategy going into it. And it played out really well for you. See, Crank went for the extra undercut, figuring you'd split that last stint in half or so. So he went for the extra undercut and just didn't have quite enough tire to hang on because of it. And you played your hand just like you planned, it sounds like, and came home P1 by a pretty commanding margin. So just great job throughout the day. And I'll give you the floor for a minute. If there's anyone you'd like to shout out or anything, go ahead.
Yeah, just my sponsors, Teton Pre-Stress Concrete, and then Snake River Racing, all of them. That should bring our team points up a little bit after today. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being with us here. How you feel going into Dover next week?
Dover is gonna probably be another hard race. Hopefully we can have another solid green run. I don't know if it'll go full green, but I think I can do pretty good at Dover.
All right, I like the confidence. Another similar racetrack with a really worn out surface. Tire conservation is going to be key, and I think there's going to be a lot of strategy games played again next week. So best of luck to you at Dover, and congrats again for the solid win here tonight at Kansas.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Adam.
All right. That was Dylan Schultz, your race winner tonight at Kansas Speedway. And that's going to take us to the end of our racing action and the end of our interviews. Thanks so much again to those drivers for taking the time. Thanks to 614 Designs, as always, for sponsoring the league, as well as Lavox Creative and kind of self-sponsoring here with BoomTube. Thank you to Zach and the rest of the guys in the league for choosing us for their broadcast provider. We'll be right back here next Thursday night at Dover. So that'll be another entertaining race. It is a very worn out, very character-filled concrete surface, very abrasive like Kansas is. Yet a lot more racing lines to work with. The top, bottom, center, it all works at Dover. But it is very tight quarters, more of a short track kind of races like a larger Bristol. So that should be an action-packed race next week, and we'll see if we get another first-time winner. We've had 3 different winners in 3 different races so far, and we'll see who can break through next week. And I hope you'll tune in with us as well. Hope to see you right back here. It'll be at 8:45, somewhere between 8:45 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. And we hope to see you next week for round number 4 of the Thursday Night Nitro Series. Thanks so much for spending your evening with us. Thanks so much to all the drivers out there and all the admins and everything for putting this together, and of course to all our sponsors. And we will see you next time.